Well, let's talk first. And then we'll get to the game. What are you doing this week? You got a thing going on here in the city? A little chalk talk?
Yeah, cityprivatepass.com. You can go to that for more information. But I'm doing a chalk talk with Peter King.
Right.
We're going to talk about the strategy the night before the game,
right,
and the kickoff before the game, and try to let some of the customers get it inside my head, but also the players, and then also with City, what they do for like the camps that they do. I think they have like over 100 camps, and it gives me an opportunity to watch these kids develop and with their skills, and also for the love of the game, and it's just it's amazing. And you have to have a City card to participate.
All right, everyone knows about who follows football knows about your meticulous preparation always for everything, and your workouts and your everything you did, from your countless amount of work you did all on and in practice and really conditioning your body. Super Bowl week. Did you stay to your regular regimen? Did you change things up? Did you do something different, anything special? Or was it just business as usual?
It was just business for me because I knew the reason why I came here. I came to the Super Bowl to win the Super Bowl. So everything else was like on the back burner. And I think it's the same thing with the players because, yeah, you're going to have some fun. You're going to make sure the family is all taken care of. But Thursday, and today is Thursday, then lockdown is really going to be Friday. Then you get into that mindset of the football game. Then what you have to do in that football game to get a victory. So everything else can wait. But the main purpose is to win that Super Bowl.
You had some games. You had a game like the Miami game where people were this way, that way, two great teams. But when you look at all the Niner wins, and especially the ones you played in, the Niners were always very prepared, very confident. Okay, were you as confident as you appeared to be in those games? Did you guys expect things to go as well as they went?
Well, I think the motivating factor for me was failure. And, you never want to go into a game where you just feel like you have just way too much confidence. But it's
right,
like you want to be on that edge. And I think that brings out the best in football players and also just your team. So you want to feel a little bit uncomfortable. I think with Denver
right,
and Seattle, Seattle is a very young team. They really haven't experienced anything like this. And, you look at Russell Wilson. This guy was drafted in the 3rd round. Doug Baldwin, he was not even drafted. Richard Sherman, he was drafted in the 5th round. So they have a chip on their shoulders to prove to everybody that, look, you made a mistake by not drafting me.
You were a guy who, that senior year in college, people knew who you were. I mean, they knew about the offense and Willie Totten and Satellite Totten and everything. So there was some advance notice, but people still questioned how good you were going to be when you came in. Did you feel some of that yourself?
Well, I felt some pressure, and that's what I'm saying with this Seattle team. With their inexperience, not knowing what to expect in this big Super Bowl, being on this stage. Because when I first came in, there was a lot of pressure put on me because I was the 16th player taken in the 1st round. And I really didn't help the situation by dropping footballs, but because all of a sudden now it's like, okay, I don't know if we should have drafted this guy in the 1st round, but I just kept fighting, and I worked my way out of it, and I was able to do some great things on the football field.
You were of all the playoff opponents, which one was the toughest for you guys? Which one was
Dallas Cowboys?
Always?
Dallas Cowboys. We did not like each other. It was always going to be a very physical game, and the rivalry to me was like the Chicago Bulls against Detroit or something like that, or the Lakers. It was just that type of football game, and if you won that football game, you knew that you would go on and win the Super Bowl.
No question. Those years, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion. And you had some great battles the Niners did with the Giants, too. You had some really good games with the Giants.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes, with the Giants also, because they came into Candlestick because we felt like we could three-peat.
Yep.
And we had a chance, and
I was at that game.
Roger got hit. He fumbled the ball, and that was the end of the three-pick.
Yeah.
I mean, three-peat, but
those were physical games that year. The Monday night game that year was a great game,
Right,
the low-scoring
right.
game on Monday night. And then, of course, both those games were great defensive battles that year with those two teams.
Without a doubt. So it was some great battles, you know, in the Meadowland and all that, because very hostile crowd, being able to fight through that and still try to get a win.
What ring do you wear?
This is Super Bowl 24 against the Denver Broncos
Yes.
in New Orleans, 55-10.
55-10 over in the first quarter, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, but,
yes.
you know, I get asked all the time, you know, what's your favorite one? I think all of them play a very important part in my, you know, in my career.
Does one mean more?
No, you know, because my first one, you know, I was like deer in the headlights. I was very young.
Right.
I didn't know what to expect. The second one, I was a little bit more comfortable. The third one, there was a lot of pressure because, you know, Steve Young needed to win the Super Bowl to get
Right.
that monkey off his back. Then
Right.
I went with the Oakland Raiders,
Right.
and we ended up losing that one. I think I learned more from that one than from the ones that I won.
That's the one I was going to get to. And we're talking with Jerry Rice, of course. That was one I was going to get to for this reason. You'd had all that success. And it was that one has a lot of properties that this game had. Not a great offense, really good defense, and your Raider offense prolific, and everyone. Now let's put the coaching stuff out of it for a minute. All right, we know that might have been a factor, but let's leave that alone. Barrett Robbins was clearly a factor, obviously, right? That was a factor, but they seemed to be able early in the game to have their way with you. The first time it was 3rd and 8. They sacked them.
Right.
I remember that, and I said, "Ooh, I was surprised." I remember sitting and saying, "Wow, this might be a little different." And it seemed like whatever you guys tried that day, they were always just one step ahead on defense. Could you see this defense with their press coverage doing that to Denver this week?
You know, I think with Seattle, they got a great secondary, and in that secondary this year, they had 28 interceptions, and 8 of those went to Richard Sherman. And I think he's going to be matched up with Demarius Thomas. But then you got Welker and also Decker. These guys combined for over 4,000 yards and 47 touchdowns. Then they got a big tight end that can get open also. So it's going to be hard for that secondary of Seattle to match up with them. I think they got to put pressure on Peyton Manning and get to him. And we talk about a guy that is like a defensive coordinator worst nightmare, that knows the system. He's going to spread the ball around. Almost threw for 6,000 yards and 55 touchdowns.